We were all born with insane creativity, making plots up in our head, playing in make-believe. Now, somewhere along the way, for me it was about in grade 1, I was told I was slower to learn than everyone, not as smart, a B mark. And guess what? I believed that for a long time. But was it true? In fact, I would beat myself up over how slow I am to do things, and you can see that all over my YouTube channel. But I think I finally figured it out. Thank God. Anyway, just your daily reminder that you can do what you put your mind to. You can create. You can ideate. You can get lost in the whole process, and that's okay. And it's a shame in the people who didn't do their job in teaching you that along the way. So what is it that I'm creating today? Well, I've got this wall in my bathroom and I've got a little plant for it. So as you saw in the title, I'm going to be doing a backsplash, but not just any tile. Not ceramic and not peel and stick. An illusion of tiles that will be perfect for this space. Renter friendly, custom made, and cheap to make. They will look 3D like real tiles and hopefully be easy enough that any one of you could do it if you wanted to. Okay, so step 1 of this plan is to remove the light fixture. Hey Parth, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Okay, so step 2 is to cover this wall. Ready? I am going to be using this specific wallpaper and using a liquid starch solution to stick it on the wall. Important disclaimer, this is non-pre-pasted wallpaper, where you apply my DIY adhesive to the wall, and for removal, it peels off in one strip. I have not tested this on other wallpaper types, but I know that if you get the wrong type, it will mess up your wall. In fact, I know someone who this happened to. So use what I use and do your own test first. I will link what I got in the description box. Now let's get started. So to stick this base wallpaper up, I'm cooking up some liquid starch. Okay, you can buy liquid starch, but I've only ever made it before, so that's what I'm doing. 4 cups of water to a boil. 6 tablespoons cornstarch into just enough water to make it liquid. Add them together and eventually you'll get this goopy adhesive solution. While it cools, keep stirring, and after a while, you're good to go. Now for the stressful part. But by stressful, I mean it's not hard or complicated, but in my head, I am stressed about it for no real reason. Moving on. Get yourself a dollar store foam brush, push it around in the cornstarch, and apply it to the wall. I am also using an edge brush for the edges to minimize the mess. And make sure you've taped off the areas you want to avoid getting this liquid onto. Listen, this liquid is just cornstarch water. It's not very strong and can wipe away with water, but still. Okay, so now to stick on the wallpaper. I'm lining it up on the top and edge of the wall, pressing it down and using a clean roller brush to make sure it's all stuck down. To cut around things like corners, objects, and outlets, use a utility knife lined up against a straight edge like a putty knife, a countertop, or a metal ruler. A word of advice, always have an assistant. This project is already a little bit chaotic, and even more so if you have no help. So I already had to take this down, straighten it out, and put it back up. But hopefully that's all the complication I run into. Go up, go up.
I feel like I have a little bit of cornstarch on my arm.
This is what it is.
It's burning.
It's not burning.
It's burning.
Oh, you're so
I feel
dramatic.
like I'm having an allergic reaction.
Don't be dramatic. Hey, I also feel like it's itching me.
Right? Burning.
It's not sticking here. Why? Did I not put glue here?
Yeah, maybe you haven't yet.
Stress. On a scale of 1 to 10. Yes. Now, this part of the application is a little bit uneventful, but if you're actually doing this project yourself, you will see that they are the bits that you are the most concerned about. So I felt I had to leave them in. You're welcome. Now for the rest of the wall, except most of it's mirror, so I'm kind of lucky. Just kidding. I actually have done underneath the mirror, and it was kind of annoying to go around the mirror. Okay, the quick and dirty gist of it is I'm cutting the wallpaper into smaller pieces and repeating the same steps above the mirror, on the sides and below. Also, the inside edges around the mirror don't need to be super precise for me because I'm framing the mirror, which FYI is a project in another video. Oh, also, you can watch all my bathroom projects in my bathroom makeover video. So that's a good way to see everything that went down.
Nice move, nice move.
Thanks, hype man. No. I'd like to know how, if I was actually installing this as wallpaper, I would make this look good. This would look like trash.
Why, because of the lines?
Yeah.
I think that's normal, that happens.
Yeah, but it doesn't work. Doesn't work with me. Also, the reality everything in here is like a little bit crazy.
But hey, you know what? It's now time to make the tiles.
Okay, so as you can see, the entire wall is now covered with wallpaper. The cool thing is it doesn't need to be perfect because it's going to be covered. Covered with what? Drywall mud. That's right. I'm going to be making tiles that are 3D using drywall mud and tape. This special detailing vinyl tape to be specific. But first I need to figure out how big to make these tiles.
And oh, for the love of elementary math and all things that we should all remember.
Okay, to be honest, I sat here for over an hour trying to figure it out because I figure since I'm making them custom, I can make the tiles perfectly fit the wall. Only I couldn't figure them out in my head. And I took time to mock these up. Except then I didn't save the file and my computer restarted. So based on memory, I think I'm going to be doing 2.5 by 10.5 inch tiles. Typical sizes for this style of tile are 2.5 by 8 and 2.5 by 10 inches. So if you want to skip the calculation, you can just pick one of those.
Okay, so I am starting by marking off a grid pattern for a 10.5 by 2.5 inch tile using a ruler. But keep in mind that you need to add in that 1/8 inch grout line, which makes the grid actually 10 and 10/16 horizontally and 2 and 10/16 vertically.
Elementary math with fractions, what up?
No, but seriously, the math actually hurts my head a bit, but draw it out and write it out and you will get it.
Repeat, grids. Yeah, you got it. Let's get now.
Also a moment to discuss that I actually thought when I started this, I had figured something out about beating myself up over being slow. That was clearly a premature statement. I have in fact not fully figured it out. I am in fact still struggling. Every day I feel overwhelmed by completing mentally extending tasks and feel drained rather quickly. What I plan to take me one day takes me 3. I have ADHD and I do not take meds, but today I am remembering the clarity I felt and the lack of stress and overwhelm I felt while taking them.
So I think it's more accurate to say I'm working to correct the lifetime of beating myself up for feeling slow, largely a result of the school system I was in, upbringing, culture, and it appears to just take time.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I am extremely tired. Typical mid-project issues.
Okay, so now that I have my grid all drawn out, I can tape off all the lines.
So instead of filming my fumbling approach on figuring out how to do this for tutorial purposes, just know that I tried many methods, different tools, much stress. And then I said to myself, let me actually just figure this out and then explain what I figured out. So this is it. You're going to work in skip sections, i.e. work in column 1, 3, 5, etc. Start with column 1 and tape it out. Use thick painter's tape on all 4 outside edges, then use the thin vinyl tape on the inside edges, always taping above the line. Work a few tiles at a time and start with fewer until you get the hang of it. Using a putty knife, grab a blob of drywall compound and apply it to your spatula, which for me I'm using a drywall float. Mix up your compound just enough until it becomes smooth, so neither too liquid nor too bumpy. Then slap it on the wall and spread it out. Once you've got enough compound on 1 to 2 tiles, start smoothing it out horizontally, being sure not to leave obvious horizontal lines in the compound. So use a light floating touch for this. I tried several different tools and sizes for this smoothing motion and found that my 2-inch putty knife still worked best. Always wipe off excess compound as you're going and only work a few tiles at a time. This is because you're trying to manage the drying time of the compound for all the rest of the steps. Once you've done 4 or 5 tiles, it's time to peel the tape.
Time to peel it.
Start with the horizontal pieces and use your putty knife to guide the tape in a level horizontal motion until it's off. If you don't hold up the tape with the putty knife, then your peels will droop, causing the grout lines to look messed up and sloppy. After you pull the horizontal vinyl tape pieces, you can now remove the vertical edge tape. Now at this point, the tiles will look a bit messed up. The grout lines will be lifted and the face of the tiles will not be smooth. This is giving a little bit more of a brick look, which is not what we're going for. But just leave it like that and we'll fix it once it dries a bit. Okay, so after a couple hours, the compound will be pretty dry, and now is when you go in to fix it up. You're gonna wanna use some water and a tool of some kind that is soft but also firm. I tried a few things, as you'll see here, for inspiration, and all of them kind of worked, but I'll say my favorite way was actually to use a cheap foam roller head from the dollar store. Dip it in water and basically sand down the lifted edges of the grout lines and smooth out the face of the tiles. For the inside edges, I used water and a paintbrush, but as you can see, this whole method is super fast, works great, and also doesn't create dust if you're working with water, so that worked well for me. Okay, and remember how I said to work in skip sections, so column 1, 3, 5? Well, once those dry, you can go ahead and repeat all of the taping steps for column 2, 4, 6, and then you're good to go.
Oh, hey there. See this behind me? The tile design is finito, and it looks great. And you know what else is great? That I had a massage every night of this project, and it has successfully avoided a stage 10 shoulder ache. If you don't have an at-home masseuse, one of those massage guns works great too. Okay, now you might be curious what my plan is for these tiles. White is cool. A solid color would be nice. But what would be better? 4 colors together at once. Variety, cohesion, asymmetry. Okay, you'll just have to see. So I got 4 little samples in eggshell in the exact colors I liked. This is about time saving and a quality finish. Ready. The next part is self-explanatory. Take some of one color, blend in another color, mix, smudge, and blend until you've covered the tile. I decided to vary the tiles so they would look handmade. After all, they are handmade.
Now, what better to accompany this painting than some musical accompaniment? I was just little ideas full. My mind was busy thinking on my own. I look inside and express myself, making what my heart told me not because it could sell. Oh, that light was strong, and my passion was too. I lost my way for a while, but I'll find my way back to you. That was me, that was me. I'll only ever be me.
Okay, seriously, 3 days of painting later, my tiles are done. Not really, actually, that is a lie. I need to do the grout lines and top coat them. But hey, so far they're looking legit. My mom actually came over and she goes, "Where did you get the tiles?" And I go, "I made it." And she goes, "But no, the block tiles, where did you get them?" And I was like, "Yeah, I made it." You get the picture. That went on for a solid minute. So they are actually looking legit. And now it's time to make them look even more legit. Top coat time. Initially, I was going to use a polyacrylic top coat, but to prioritize lower fumes, I'm going to be using this Liquitex top coat meant for art. And since technically this is art, it works out just fine. Also, I got this in a gloss finish because I'm going for a full-on effect, okay? To apply it, I'm using a foam brush and applying one light coat. The formula is really nice to work with and it covers the tiles really well.
Now, once you've applied the top coat, make sure you remove the painter's tape pretty much right away. Otherwise, it's going to stick and actually peel the paint underneath.
And so that means that all this tape that's here again is a new coat of tape. Taping fun. Just wait till you see the step after this. More tape, more tape, more tape.
Hey, what a wonderful time of day. It's not on. My arm is hurting, my arm is hurting already from this workout of varnishing. You probably can't even see any difference, because I barely can too. But if you looked up close at this, from the right angle, you'd see it shining through.
So the tiles are now varnished, and it is time to apply some grout, or shall I say caulk. And I've already started up here by taping, or shall I say parcels taping.
Okay, the tiles already look good, but let's make them even better with the grout. Now to do this, you're going to tape above and below the grout lines, and then you're going to apply some silicone caulk. Once you've got a few lines applied, you're going to dip your finger in water and then wipe down the grout line. Remove any excess and then repeat until you've done several lines, and then you can go ahead and remove the tape. At this point, you're going to dip your finger back in the water and smooth out the joint sections, and then wait for that to dry, and you can repeat the entire process for the vertical strips, including this little smoothing step. And just like that, my friends, what a relief. The backsplash is finally finished.
So I spent a few minutes reinstalling the fixtures, and oh my goodness, this project. Insane, painful, rewarding, beautiful. A visual representation of the human mind. And by that, I don't mean my mind. By all normal standards, this shouldn't be possible, and yet it is. Now don't forget that I have other projects that I did in this bathroom, like my wooden beams right up here, the counters, and floors. All of which you'd probably find interesting. I'll link them down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!